You guys can hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. How's everybody doing?
good.
Good. Anyone first time on one of these calls?
Yeah, that's me. First
Yeah,
time.
anyone? Awesome. Well, I'll quickly do a little breakdown. This is just a open Q&A support call for anyone that needs any help with remote sales. Sometimes we do some profile 1-minute video reviews. Sometimes we talk about some interview and job sourcing strategies. It's pretty much just about whatever people need. So I usually just open up the floor to go through that. Sound good?
Yep.
Awesome. Bill, I know you wanted to go through your profile, so we can definitely take a look at that if you want to drop the link in the chat. And
Will
while
do.
you're doing that, who's got some questions? What do you guys want to go through? Go ahead and hit me. No, we're shy today? Nothing?
Well, I'm pretty new to this, so this is literally my first call. In terms of networking, straight out of these calls, would I be able to reach out to, let's say, Darren or Bill directly through the chat? Like, I've never used the school community before, so I'm very fresh to this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you definitely want to network around, people to role play with, people to, get some advice from if you need some help. Posting in the community is the best way to do it. If you want to role play, we have the category where it says book mock calls. So you can post your calendar link in there for people to book calls with you. Yeah, it's all there for you.
Sounds
I'm
good.
also
Let me-
yeah. Hello.
There we go. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also new here. So I'm just here to observe. I haven't had a chance to. I mean, I replied to you on school. I haven't had a chance to really look into the group and explore. But I'm
For
planning to
sure.
do that later today.
For sure. Well, we will take a look at your profile, Bill, and see what we got going on. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to share screen. You can let me know once you see it. There we go. Good to go.
Yeah. There we go.
Perfect. So let's take a look at what we got here. Good headshot photo. I would zoom it in a little bit more if you can, just so you can see your nice smile. But
Okay.
we got some good experience, 4 million revenue generated. How come we don't have average deal size?
I don't know why.
Did
I
you not
filled it
fill it
out.
out?
Yeah, I filled it out on all of the jobs I entered there, and I don't know what I did wrong. It's not coming up for some reason.
Cool. We'll check it out. Working times is all set up, and then this is what we were talking about last time was the 1-minute video. Is this a new one?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's take a listen.
Hi, my name is Bill Morphy. I've sold nearly $5 million in high-ticket sales in my career in both real estate and software sales. I'm looking for a high-ticket opportunity in either of those verticals. I have excellent skills at qualifying and closing, and I've done numerous sales courses. I'm currently enrolled in the Closer College, and I'd like to utilize the newfound skills I have in a new offering with an excellent company. I'm looking forward to an opportunity to speak with you. So thank you very much for your time.
Okay. So, a couple things I want to mention. There's nothing wrong, firstly, with anything that you said. It's more so the cadence and the overall appearance of the video that I want to address. So, put on you for working on the script in terms of getting it shorter, getting the revenue generated, and the stuff they want to hear up front. But what I want to see is the overall presentation. When we're doing the presentation of it, we have to keep in mind that the business owners are going to be looking at, is this person currently in an environment where I can see them taking closing calls from here, right? So you don't want to be so zoomed in, circle around your head. Let the full image, the full rectangle show.
Okay.
The angle, you don't want it to be like from coming down up at your chin. See if you can get the camera in alignment with you. Get it to show just just from the mid of your chest and up, so that kind of like how I have it set up. You can see Lucian has it set up. Make sure it's set up where you're in an office type setting. Again, you don't need like bookshelf or anything fancy. Just a blank wall is more than okay, as long as it doesn't look like a kitchen or bedroom or anything like that. Professional setting. And then if you were talking about dress, you only want to dress for the role that you're going for. So if you're going for more of like a B2B offer, maybe put on a collared shirt, a nice sweater or something like that if you're going for a different offer. Just to make it look like, hey, this guy is in the environment. If he were to just jump on closing calls right now looking like this, that would be totally okay. That's what you want to come off. And then lastly, that's the look, the appearance. When I was talking about the cadence, I wanted to come off more conversational, how you would actually be on your sales calls. You got a lot of sales experience, so I know you know what I'm talking about. I want you to just be conversational. I want you to pitch it as if you were selling yourself when the recruiter's right there or business owner's right there in the room with you, right? Conversational kind of tone. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. Fix those two things, then we're solid, then we're golden. And then you can start using this to apply for some roles.
Okay. Excellent.
Moving on here, got the summary. Cool. We're obviously going to work on getting some stuff in the portfolio. I know we haven't gotten there yet, but we'll get that going. Let's look at some employment. So iWave, privacy analytics, there's some good revenue here. Obviously 1.2 million there, 3.5 million there. Biggest things I want to see is bullet points of achievements. A lot of people, what they do when they put their employment history is they either put like these long paragraphs of like things they were responsible for, or they put like a one-liner or nothing there. They just put the job and done. One thing that's going to actually make it worth the business owner looking at is if you put achievements, things that you were able to do. So let's look at the first one. Sold fundraising software, hit assigned quota 8 straight quarters. That's great. So I would say like the same thing here, but if there's any other achievements that you could list, like hit quota 8 straight quarters, was #1 on the team, won an award for top producer. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever you can list, or hit in the third year was the company's most revenue generated over in its history. Like I was a part of the team that hit the company's record numbers. Whatever you can put in terms of like bullet proofs of achievement is going to make this employment history pop a lot more. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Obviously education and languages, that's just the normal there. So I would just change those two things with the 1-minute video. Make sure that we change the outlook and the cadence. With the portfolio, we're going to work more on getting stuff in there, and then more bullet points of what you were able to achieve with the employment history. Sound good?
Got it. How do we get the average deal in there? I can't. I'm not sure how I missed that. I thought
Yeah, that'll
put it in on. I put it in on the section where it was supposed to go in. I can't recall what I put in. But
yeah, that's weird. That one we'll take a look at. We'll take a look at and make sure that's in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you. We'll shoot you a message.
Yeah, please. Thanks.
Cool. We got some hands up here. Adolfo, what's up, man?
Real quick, how's it going? First time here, so can you hear me?
Welcome. I can.
Cool. Yeah, just wanted to that was helpful for Bill. That's gonna help me. So I just wanted to see if you can take a look at my profile and give me pointers on where to refine it. Getting started
For
with
sure.
closer college.
Yeah, for sure, man.
What do you need? My link?
Happy
or-
to. Well, yeah. Are you talking about like your RepSelect profile? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, just get your share link and drop it in the chat. And then while you're pulling that up, Lucian, did you have something quick for me to answer?
Hey Ty, I would also like a review on my RepSelect, but like really quick before you review Adolfo's RepSelect profile. I wanted to ask you, in terms of getting in the interview mock calls,
Mhm.
what's like the best way to kind of practice them? Is it like, I don't know, the best way is just to practice like one call, like from start to finish, or just like drill down like specific questions, or I don't know.
Well, if you feel like you're not presenting well for any specific question, you obviously want to hammer that out first. Interview mocks can be a little bit shorter. So, yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to break it up as much. You can do like a 5 minute, 10 minute interview mock where they ask you like 5 or 6 of the core questions. And then just keep going from there. I don't think you got to break it up and like ask one question 10 times, unless you're like super nervous or awkward answering, like, tell me about your weaknesses. Unless you're really, really bad at answering that question, that's when obviously you can get some more reps in.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Cool. Dolfo, let's take a look at this one, man. And Lucian, obviously, feel free to drop your link and we'll go through it.
Please
Share the
brief
screen.
Roto. Yeah, coach.
All right, let's take a look. I think I'm sharing audio. Ribbon generated. So first thing here, this profile summary is way too long. Nobody's going to read this. Try to shorten it up. Make it like 2, maybe 3 lines. I mean, the shorter the better. And I'm actually going to increase the font size here. So once I release that update, this is going to take up a lot of space. So yeah, I would get this down. It doesn't need to be this long. Key, just quick liner, 1-liner, 2-liner, giving an overview of your experience and why you are great for the role that you're going for, which is a setter closer. Let's see here. Portfolio looks good. You got a closed deal. Obviously, make sure all the links are working. Cool. We got a Fathom there, and it looks like objection handling role play. So what I would also do, it's good to have full videos. So full objection handling role play is good. A full closed deal is good. And then I would chop it up even more with other stuff. So I would have some that are full, but then I would have, here's how I specifically do the pitch, and that's like a 5-minute thing. Here's how I handle this pain, not pain. Here's how I handle price objection. Here's how I handle spouse objection, and just have like maybe 5-10 clips of different things. Here's how I would, kick off the call with a prospect that was, trying to take control. Here's how I would, if you're an appointment setter, here's how I would set the appointment with someone who's trying to get me off the phone. Like, I would put a bunch of different examples, because when a business owner comes to look at this, they usually just want to see a few things. Sometimes they want to see a full thing. Usually they're like, okay, I'm hiring a closer right now. I know that my sales team, the biggest struggle we face right now is handling price objection. So I'm super curious how this guy handles price objection. And when they come here, they're like, all right, well, I got to either hope it's in here or I got to watch a whole hour-long thing to find it. Imagine you're looking for a YouTube tutorial and all of the thing you actually want to help with or want to see is like 5 minutes of an hour-long video. So it's a lot easier if you just give them that clip. We all love those YouTube tutorials who they're 1 minute long. You press it right into the tutorial. So that'll make that look a lot better. Sound good?
Yeah, I'm thinking of reels, like different reels kind of thing.
100%, 100%. Literally like 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, different. Okay, this is how I handled this. This is how I handled that. This is how I frame the call. Because what a lot of business owners are looking for, and this is huge for people with zero sales experience, I would 100% do this, because what a lot of business owners are looking for with these role plays is, does this person share the same sales ideology that I do? Because everyone's going to have their own ideas how they believe is the best way to sell. And if they watch your clip and they're like, cool, this guy handled that objection exactly how I would handle it, they're going to hire you, like, or at least give you an interview. Because then they're like, I don't have to teach you something different, or I don't have to teach you my way of doing things. You already sell like me. You know what I mean? So yeah, that'll make that part even better. Same thing like I told Bill, bullet points of achievement on these things. There's tons and tons of different sales experience here, but yeah, try to get some bullet points of achievement if you can in some of these. And then, this is for everyone. The endorsement section is super valuable. So you're talking about networking with other people in the community, find other people that got profiles and stuff and see if they can do a role play with them so that it's true. And then see if they can endorse you for something like, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just like, hey, this guy is awesome at closing. I worked with him a lot, or I role played with him a lot. He's awesome at this, whatever, right? See if you can get some endorsements, because kind of like you see a business with testimonials versus one without, it helps. It helps a lot. Don't have to spend all the time in the world on it, but it's definitely helpful. The absolute number one most important aspect of this is going to be the 1 minute video. So you definitely want to have one there. You're going to want to have a video. That's your bread and butter. That's your resume. That's how you sell yourself. Every single recruiter, business owner that I've ever spoke to, they take the 1 minute video above all else. So definitely want to get one in there. Sound good?
That's great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
No problem. Haley, what's up? Then we'll take a look at your solution.
Hi there. So I just had a question for context. I don't know if you want to give context, Ty, but I'm on an offer right now, and I was going over some of the sales meetings that I've been having, and I wrote down the structure of the call. And there was something that Ward said during the call where he said time under tension, and he specified 2 areas that I should have time under tension, and one of them being pain. And then there was another one where he said after he does the pain and then he does the label, he asks more questions to increase that time under tension just a little bit more. And I was just wondering if you could clear up what that meant.
Yeah, so when Word is talking about having more time under tension in the beginning of the call, meaning this is the part as a closer where you're asking questions about the problem that you're there to solve. And this is going to be slightly different for everyone you speak to because not everyone is fully problem focused. It's almost like a push and pull kind of thing. It's like some people are motivated by avoiding the problem or avoiding pain, and some people are motivated by chasing the goal.
Yes.
Right. So the amount of time you spend either talking about the problem or talking about their goals is going to be determined by what is that person more motivated by. Are they a goals focused person or are they a problem avoidance focused person? So that's one thing, like the amount of time you spend there is going to be determined by that. But spending time in either of those is just seeking for more clarity around it. So just like how we've talked about on some of these past calls that we've had is asking what they mean by things, searching for clarification, asking them to tell you more about it until you've gotten to the bottom of it. If you fully understand everything there is to understand about the problem, obviously that's when it's good to move on. And same thing, if you understand everything there is to understand about the goal, that's when you move on. I don't want you to think about it too robotically, right?
Okay. No, I understand that portion of it. There was just time under tension, and I didn't know if there was a further explanation for that.
Yeah, time under tension just means like us as human beings, we build the emotion that we spend the most time with. So for example, if you tell me a story about something that made you mad, eventually you're going to notice that in that moment you are actually going to start feeling mad, even though that thing that made you mad is not actively happening right now. Right? So that's kind of what time under tension in sales would be. If someone is talking about their problem, the longer they spend talking about the problem, the more they're going to feel the urge that they need to solve it or get rid of it. Same thing, the more someone talks about their dreams and desires and goals, the more they're like, man, I want it. It's like when you see a commercial for a vacation ad, those ads are never fast. They're always slow. You always see like the cold glass with the water dripping down in slow motion because they want you to spend time there. They want you to think about it for a certain amount of time so that you feel the urge to now go on vacation. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. That was my only question.
No problem. Lucian, let's take a look at your profile.
Yes, sir. One question. How can you add bullet points to the employment? Because I've tried and I can't seem to find how.
Well, just use the slash
I've tried
thing. Can you not like, you can't enter it? Cool. I'll change that. But yeah, not so much like it has to be one line after the other bullet points, but it should just be like bullet point format in terms of achieved this, achieved this, achieved this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Does that make sense? But I'll look into that and make sure that you can hit shift enter if that's something you can't do there. Cool. So we'll look at your 1 minute video. Looks like you got a bunch of stuff in the portfolio here, which is awesome.
To add some videos.
Awesome. Tracking sheet. Instead of saying closer tracking sheet, I would put like the niche like, fitness offer tracking sheet. You know what I mean? That way, if
Business
you're applying to
coaching in
something,
this
yeah,
case.
business coaching, are they all business coaching?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say like business coaching tracking sheet or something like that. That way they know, okay, cool. Um,
Okay.
Screenshots, proof, video, discovering pain points. Yeah, solid. Let's take a look at the 1 minute video.
Hi, I'm Lucian, and if you're seeing this video, it is because I would love to work with you as a closer. I have over 3 years of experience in the B2C industry, BizOp to be more specific, where I have generated over $3 million in cash with an average closing rate of over 30%, mainly with a package of 8.5K and also a seasonal one of 15K. Besides this, I have invested over 25K at this point in trainings and coaching programs, starting from getting one-on-one coached with 2 8-figure closers, limiting beliefs reprogramming with Zach Michael, getting extensive training in Cole Gordon's Remote Closing Academy, and Ty Martin's Closer College. I have a portfolio with proven track records, certificates, videos of me closing. So if you want to watch those, just click the link below attached to this video. What I'm looking for is a team long term. So a business that I can grow into other positions in time, obviously as the business needs to, and people that are highly competitive like myself, people that are consistently striving for growth. Thank you.
Yeah, overall, solid video. I mean, anywhere that you can improve on, like just making yourself, just sounding more confident, better cadence, you can always improve there. You can always make tweaks, but I think overall it's a solid video. It's definitely good to utilize, especially once you get some good videos in the portfolio there.
Okay.
Let me see, freelance closer, 3 years experience, B2C. But yeah, overall, solid video, solid profile. Photo, get a headshot where you're looking straight on, more like a LinkedIn kind of photo. It's just more professional, draws the eye more. But overall, looking good, looking good.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions? I see we got one more that was dropped in the chat here. Anas, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Sweet. Let's take a look at yours, man.
Yep.
Awesome. Phone setter. The best. I know make money. Generated headshot here. Again, I would want to get more of like a professional photo, not with a hat on or anything like that. It looks more like a Instagram photo. I want to get like a professional headshot photo. It'll make it a little bit better there. Obviously, full color and everything like that. We'll take a look at the 1 minute video. Obviously, it says will be filled soon. I'm sure you were here when I talked about like what to put in the portfolio, right? You on the call at that time?
No, I joined about 15 minutes late.
Okay. Well, watch it again from the beginning once I post the recordings, just for everyone else. I
Sure.
don't want to go back through it again, but put more stuff in the portfolio. You can watch and see what I said there. Let's take a look at some of these here. Given the responsibility, dialing, offer 2 listing guaranteed. So for example, instead of saying like this, I would just say, dialed 120 real estate agents per day in the US. Was the top cold caller on the team. Yeah, and then any other kind of achievements that you had is what I would just list there. That way they're not reading the whole thing. They're just seeing some of the stuff they care about. And I would do the same with the rest of these. And then let's take a look at the 1 minute video.
Welcome to my 1 minute intro. My name is Anas Hassan. I'm 20 years old and I'm applying for a phone setter role. Now, I've got 7 months of solid experience as an internal sales rep working with a marketing company in Australia serving contractors. Now, I used to handle warm leads from paid ads and SMS campaigns. Now, I also worked as a B2B setter with cold calling and cold outbound DMs with another company serving clients in US and UK markets. So the industries I've sold in, B2B industries I've sold in primarily are roofing, solar, and home improvement companies, and also in recruitment agencies as well. I used to sell to recruitment agencies. And currently, I'm on the lookout for a long-term role in a growing company, one that has a great product and a great team and are serious about scaling, right? So one thing about me is I'm a guy who's always willing to learn. I'm super coachable and adaptable to company cultures, and I like being in a competitive environment where performance matters. If you get what I mean. So if you're looking for a triage sales rep or a phone setter who can handle or who can convert interest to appointments or conversations to appointments, then I would love to bring that to your team. Now, thank you for watching, and I'm excited to connect with you.
Okay, awesome. So the only things I would say here is one, when it comes to the appearance overall, if you end up applying for like B2B roles, they probably wouldn't take the video as seriously. I would want to literally how you're dressed now, collared shirt, I wouldn't have the hat on. In terms of the setting, it's it looks fine, but if you can, try to have just a blank wall behind you or an office type setting. If you can. Again, blank wall, it could literally just be like try to slide in this corner and get the camera to sit in this little pocket, or however you want to do it. And then when it comes to the video, obviously practice and record multiple takes so that you can do it all the way through in one go, so that there's that smooth cadence where you're showing that you're confident and you're good to go. When we're looking at your experience here, you had some good revenue generated overall. They might wonder why there was such different, like 16K here, 20K here, 12K here, why it was so split up. But what I would want to do is try to present this in the best light possible. So for example, let me ask you some questions here. With this company, how long did you work with them?
Oh, about 3 months.
Okay, about 3 months. And what was the split in terms of the 21K? Did you generate, what was the split in which you generated it? What, month one, month two, month three, what did it look like?
Well, that was a real estate offer saying about a package of like 2.5K.
Mm-hmm.
So I got about, let me just have a look here. You know what? I'll take a look.
And then I also want to know about this one here where you did 120K.
Yeah, that one's, I'm not sure if it's okay to put it that way, because I'm like calling homeowners who feel like Facebook ads for home improvement services. So I'm just, scheduling them in on the contractor's calendar after taking a small
We are your appointment
$30
setter.
fee. Yeah, like an appointment setter. So if the
Yeah.
job converts, then
Well,
it's
do you know
very
how
high
much
ticket.
converted?
Yeah, like on average, one of 10 estimates, basically.
Okay. So based off what you did, they sold over 120K in revenue?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. So the biggest thing we want to do is like think, how do we present this information in the best light? So how long did you work with this company here?
I'm still with them actually. Right. It's a part-time
Yeah.
role. Yeah.
How long did you work with them for though?
Now it's been about October, November, December, January, February, about 6.5 months. Yeah.
Okay, about 6.5 months. How many appointments do you typically set? Like per day, per week? What does that look like?
On average, it's been one a day.
Okay.
Because there's
So
like a couple days where there's no leads. Sometimes there's leads that are not qualified. Sometimes the ads are shut off.
So is it about 20 a month?
Yeah, about 20 a month, let's say. Yeah.
Okay. And what was the opportunity which you were able to generate the most amount of calls?
I think currently on the current role, like I'm doing very
That's
good.
been the highest. It's been the
Yeah, it's
highest
been the highest.
setting
Yeah.
volume.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So for example, when I'm presenting this, I might say stuff like, currently I'm working for XYZ company where I'm able to set about 20 appointments per month. And do you know what like the close rate is for the appointments you set? Did you say it's 1 in 10?
Yeah, well, I asked the agency owner how is the close rate looking for these contractors,
Mhm.
and he didn't give me a correct answer. He gave me a vague one, like 1 out of 10, or he's doing like
Okay.
4 or 5
We'll
jobs a
definitely
month.
go get the specific numbers. Definitely go
Yeah,
get the specific numbers. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. You just want to get any data that you can and use that in your video to, again, like I said, present it in the best light possible. So if you can say, hey, I'm able to set 1 or 2 appointments per day, or I'm able to set appointments every day that resulted in a 30% close rate or 40% close rate or whatever.
right,
You just want to just search for things you can bring up in that video to make it sound a little bit more exciting. And overall, you've got a good amount of experience with a lot of different companies. We just want to obviously get the revenue up that we've generated. It's part-time, so I mean, if you were full-time, obviously you could set more. But yeah, fix those couple things and profile will be looking good.
right. Okay, thank
Any
you.
questions on that?
Well,
Pretty
so
straightforward.
far.
Cool. Later Adolfo, I'm not sure if you still have it up, Haley. I know you had your hand up a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you wanted to do a role play, but I know that takes a while, so I was trying to get
Yeah,
ready.
we can definitely do one in a sec here. We'll see what Ben has to say here. Ben, what's up? You there? Don't know if he's typing or can you hear me, Ben? No, Anas, you had your hand up too, man. What's up?
Yeah, so I was asking, so I wanted to ask, like, I have experience only in like cold calling and, warm calling basically. So
Mm-hmm.
do you think it's a good idea for me to try and apply to closing roles?
If you want to apply to closing rules, then yeah, I would 100% apply to them, right? Like the only thing that will happen at worst is that you don't land it. But what you could do is start to gear some of your things towards a closing role. So obviously in the portfolio, start to do some closing role plays, start to get some closing mocks in there. Apply for closing roles with any companies that you really want to work with, but also don't be afraid to apply to closing roles for some of the smaller companies with the smaller OTEs that maybe you could work part-time with to get some closing experience. The best thing you could do as well is if you're already on an offer, I don't know if there's opportunity to close deals there. A lot of times people can make that transition just by, especially if they're working as an appointment setter, going to leadership and being like,
Yeah.
hey, if quota is 3 appointments a day, can I set every fourth appointment for myself? And then that's a good way to be doing both, right? So yeah, there's lots of ways to get into it, but yeah, start applying and see what you can land.
Right, okay. I'll say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's also a lot of setter closer roles where you're responsible for the full cycle. So yeah, that's a great way to get some experience, especially if you have experience with cold calling. Like lots of businesses will be willing to take on a cold caller. You know what I mean? So if you find a business with a good product, good service, they've got testimonials, they've got wins, and you're willing to just like self-set close for them for a bit to, for 3-6 months, get some really good experience under your belt, you can do that. But definitely don't be afraid to apply for closing as well.
Right. Okay.
Cool. Any other questions? If not, we will do some role play. Cool. Haley, what's up? What did you want to role play?
Yeah, so I was wondering if you could be the prospect or I'll be the prospect and you could be the person closing. Just with somebody, a lead that I have been struggling with is somebody who's scatterbrained and kind of all over the place. And so I would like to get really good at asking the same question over and over and over again. And I'm going to take notes.
Those are the best ones, right? Where
Yeah,
they
and they're numerous.
just ramble. Just rambling.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
cool.
like to talk. They like to talk.
Man, those ones, honestly, I sometimes getting honest with those ones really suck. So are we talking, are we going to do real estate offer then?
Yeah, let's do a real estate offer.
Sweet, sweet. Kick off from the start.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. So let's skip the frame and let's jump in. And I'm just like, Haley, what's up? What brought you to the call? What can I help you with?
Yeah, I just, I'm looking to like maybe get into some real estate. I really, I don't know. I kind of want to see what you guys are doing because, like I have a friend, she's in real estate and she's just doing really well.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, there's lots of ways in which we help. What are you struggling with right now when it comes to getting into real estate?
Well, I mean, I kind of just don't know where to start.
Why do you say that?
I mean, like, should I save up money first? I've heard of people saying like, oh, you have to have at least 50,000, but then I've heard people say like, oh, you can just start with no money. And then like there's so many different deals. And then my other friend, Teresa, she got a duplex, but then it needed a new roof, it needed a new AC, and it was so nerve-wracking just watching her like lose everything with the duplex, and she was really, really stressed about it.
Mm, okay. Well, talk to me. I mean, obviously, there's strategies that you can deploy, but what would you say is the main thing that's kind of in your way when it comes to just going out there, looking at houses, acquiring one? What's really in the way here?
Um, yeah, I think just getting, a duplex, I think I want to get that. And I think just making sure I have enough money so that if something goes wrong, like what happened with my friend, I have some backup to make sure. Like, do you guys do that? Do you guys help people with who don't have a lot of like have some capital, but do you help people with like cushioning the capital? Is that what you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's lots of ways in which we could help. I mean, would you say not having enough money to get started, that's what's been stopping you from jumping in?
Um, Yeah, more or less. I mean, I have some money saved, but it's just like I worked so hard to save this money, and I just want to make sure it's, just like getting in the right place. And my other, like, I saw on YouTube this guy, he looked really cool. He bought like 3 Airbnbs. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should do that because so the thing is, I really like Hawaii a lot. So I was thinking like
Mhm.
maybe I should just get an Airbnb there because I've heard that they make more money, but then I heard that like the liability is, bigger too. So like, should I get a lawyer?
It sounds like you've been looking all over the place.
Yeah, I've been really trying to do my research.
Okay. And do you have, I mean, you mentioned Hawaii, you mentioned Airbnb. Is it that you have a specific thing you want to do with real estate, or is it kind of like, I just know I want to make money with real estate? Real estate sounds like a good idea. What is it more for you, would you say?
I think I just want to make money with real estate. I just want somebody to tell me what to do because I,
Yeah,
I don't know like should I get a duplex or should I get like Airbnb?
yeah,
Those look cool, but I don't know.
I get that. There's a lot of ways you could take it. So talk to me, is it just like strategy? I don't have a good strategy for jumping in.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been looking at getting into real estate?
Probably for the past like year or so.
Okay, the past year.
Yeah.
And what kind of progress have you made in the last year?
Well, I don't have any units.
What's going on? Is it like you just been fumbling around with the strategy for a whole year?
I mean, I went and so I did go and tour this one property with my friend, and it looked really nice. So I have contacted like some real estate agents.
Oh, how did that go?
I mean, like I said, I toured a property, um, but I don't know. I just like when it came to like making an offer, I got really, really scared.
Oh, tell me about that. What made you scared?
Well, it's like, it was a big down payment, and like I told you, my friend Teresa, she just it was like this huge stress for her, and she ended up selling it. And I don't know. It seems like if you screw up, you could really mess up, like lose a lot of money.
Mm, so you're just kind of afraid to make the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long have you kind of been sitting there realizing that you really don't want to make the wrong choice with this?
I mean, I guess like that a year, because yeah.
You're turning your wheels. That can take a toll.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I'm right now, I'm a single mom with two kids, and I just want to show them what's possible, and I don't really feel like I've made progress.
Mm, yeah, yeah, I can see how that can be frustrating. Well, talk to me. Ideally, perfect scenario, what would you like to see happen with the portfolio and just with real estate as a whole?
If I could replace my W-2 income, or like even just, get 1,000, 2,000 more dollars a month, that would be amazing.
Why that number?
Because like my daughter wants to do T-ball, and
Oh,
I can't
nice.
really afford to. Yeah, I can't really like afford to do it. I mean, I can, but I'm trying to save up money, for real estate. So, um, yeah, I think if I had like an extra $2,000 a month, I could, help my daughter.
Hmm.
She's like a natural.
You're natural at it?
Yeah, yeah.
How long she been playing T-ball?
Well, she's been playing with the neighborhood kids, and I watch her. I mean, since she was like 4, and now she's 8, and I watch her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's just so confident with like the way she moves and everything, and I just want to foster that. I feel like that would, be really good.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that. Especially when they're young, they're picking up a skill. You definitely want to do what you can to have them playing, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, talk to me. I mean, outside of just helping your daughter play skee ball, is there anything else that you can see yourself doing building this real estate portfolio? Let's say you get to that 2K per month with your portfolio. Like, what's next? What comes after that?
I would love to travel. Like I want to show my kids, more of the world and everything, and right now I can't.
Oh yeah, where would you go?
I would take them to Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Nice. Why there?
Well, where I live, it's like really cold, so maybe just a change of weather would be nice for them.
You don't gotta tell me I'm in Canada.
Okay, yeah, you get it.
I know all about gold. Anything else you do other than just travel?
I also play the violin, and I haven't played in a long time just because I've been really busy. So I think if I had something that like either could make me work part-time, so I could, get back into like my hobbies, because I have 3
Hmm.
kids. I'm just really busy.
And do you see real estate as the vehicle to do that?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
Why real estate in particular?
Well, it's like a tangible asset that you can use to grow, you know,
Okay.
wealth, and then it's something I could give to my kid. I'd like to have at least 3 houses, one for each kid.
Okay. Awesome. We'll pause there. Um, what was I gonna say? After that, I would probably just go into maybe some solutions, commitments,
Okay.
get ready to go transition into the pitch. I mean, you stopped being such a rambler.
Yeah, sorry. I felt like I was annoying you. I
You stopped rambling anyway,
I
but
did. I felt
was
bad.
that no, you don't need to feel bad about it. I mean, that's what we're here to practice, right? Any thoughts, any questions?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. So you did, I mean, obviously you did really well with asking the same thing in different ways. I noticed that you started off the call with talk to me why you want to get, why you're on the call, or what brought
Hmm.
you to the call. I wrote it down. And then so we talked about that, and then you circled with goal later, because I've always thought goal was first, but it looks like you did it later. Was that just based off the call, how the call was going,
I
or
I
is
personally
that
always do
strategic?
problem first. I usually always do problem first. And I know Ward does too. But I always do problem first. And again, it's like if I'm asking questions about what the biggest challenge is, and they constantly are giving me like my biggest challenge is not having the goal, then it tells me that this person's probably goal focused, not problem focused. And then that problem section is probably a lot shorter. And then we probably spend more time talking about their goals, like I was saying before. But I usually always go problem first. I know there's some people that do goal first. At the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter. And it mostly changes offer to offer depending on what is easier, what flows better with that specific offer. For example, a lot of biz op offers, I know sometimes they do goals first just because usually people are looking at a new business opportunity like e-commerce or something like that. They don't necessarily have like a problem. They just want to get into e-commerce, for example. So they usually kick it off goals first. But you can make literally any offer work going either goals or problems first. It's more of a preference thing and what you find is a smoother start for you. I personally am a big fan of going challenge first because I feel like once you can get them to admit what they specifically need your help with, which if I could go back, that's one question I would have asked you a little bit more of right there. I would have said, well, what are you looking for my help with specifically? But once you can get that out the way, the rest of the call kind of opens up from there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. No, that was helpful because I like doing it problem first too, but from the meeting that I was listening to, War had mentioned gold. So
Yeah. Yeah. If you listen to it again, I think he mentions goal, but then he just uses it as a way to segue into the problem.
okay,
So
perfect.
yeah, ask Ward about it. I know for sure he does problems first because I trained him. So I know for a fact he does that.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, well, I have a call in like 12 minutes, so I'm gonna hop off so I can kind of
No problem. Later.
Thanks, Guy.
No problem. Carlos, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, Ty?
I am good.
No, that was great. Like I was like watching you in action and with the trainings is like, doing more training because I saw you went from the stated problem, when she said, "Oh, I just want to make money with real estate," to like digging into the real problem, which it was like the wrong strategy and then like the frequency and then the impact of that. So that was like really cool, like following that. My question is like, do you think the real problem was like wrong strategy when she mentioned she didn't know where to start, or was more like afraid of the investment? Like, which one do you like will have more weight when you're delivering pitch and making sure that the person is committed?
Well, those things are the same things. She's afraid of making the investment because she didn't have a good strategy, or like she didn't have a good strategy to fall back on that said that it would have been a good investment. So it's one and the same.
Okay.
I would use like I'm going to mention both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, the problem really is she wants to make more money so that she can provide better things for her family. That was like for that role play, like that was the real thing here is that she's not able to like, and then aside from that,
Mhm.
like yes, that's the goal, but
Mhm.
aside from that is she doesn't have the strategy to get into real estate, sure, but the bottom of it was like I can't provide for my family.
Hmm. And then in those circumstances, because you weren't able to get there until we reached the goal part, like, is it okay to have the kind of like a base problem and just keep digging from there? Like, because I know you mentioned to keep asking and going back until you have the real problem,
Hmm.
and not move forward until
Yeah,
then.
and
But
it doesn't always have to get to the emotional. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like some people they try to force it, like how does that make you feel or something, and then it's just kind of
Mm.
cringy. Like if I was, and it's just contextual, right? Like if I'm on with a 7 or 8 figure business owner, we're talking about his business, I'm not going to ask him these like emotional questions. Like, oh,
Mhm.
how does that make you feel? And da da da. It's like we're just talking about his business. If it comes up, it comes up. Um, but the base, like you want to get to the base of the problem, which is she didn't have a proper real estate strategy or plan to even
Okay.
enter the market, which was her fear. And if
Okay.
we never,
Mhm.
and then when talking about goals and desires, like they're gonna usually if it's not like a B2B offer, they'll probably talk about the deeper feelings behind it, and it's
Mhm.
just things that stem from that problem. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I get it. Cool. Thanks.
Cool. Any other questions, Bill?
Yeah, what I liked about that, you let her think out loud. She was kind of bouncing all over the place, but you just kind of let her run, When you're done, I'll tell you what I think, kind of a thing. So,
Yeah.
it was stream of consciousness there. She's just thinking out loud. I tried this. I look at that. I'm scared of this. You just waited her out until, you got down to the crux of it.
That's the main part of these closing calls. You don't have to think so much about the questions you're going to ask. You're just letting them come to the conclusion that that they need help, and then you're just showing them how you can help them at the end when you're pitching, right?
Yeah.
But you need to let them come to that conclusion that they need help. They're helping them flesh out what is the problem, what are my goals, getting it all out there on the table, and you're like, hey, can I give you my thoughts? I think you need this. You agree? Awesome. Well, I can walk you through how I can get you that. And then you give them the pitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Ben, I know your hand's been up there for a while. I don't know if that was accidental, or if you do have a question, but your hand's been up for a while.
Oh yeah, it's not Ben. Yeah, that's why I was getting confused. I'm using
Oh, that's why you weren't answering. Okay, using someone else's account?
yeah, I was using someone else.
Okay, makes sense.
My question is, so I did a couple of interviews recently, and I wanted to ask, I mean, what I've noticed, right, with like good opportunities that I wanted to work with is that they typically, most of them ask for mock calls, especially like the seven-figure guys or like
Yeah.
opportunities where I have more money. And then like I did one mock call today. It was a very like long one, about an hour, like the whole sales call. He said I was good, but not like great. You know what I mean? So I feel like, okay, so what would you do in my case right now? Like, is it you got to show up to these mock calls, like if you want to land these roles and just be great from the mock call, or what do you think is the best strategy then here to land these types of roles?
Well, if a business owner wants you to do a mock call, there's not much you're gonna do to you're not gonna say no, give me the job. You know what I mean? But if he wants you to do a role play, again, the main thing they're looking for is, does this person have the same sales ideologies? Right? And that's why I say it's so important to just understand the bare bones framework of how to handle every objection and how to go about the call. Ask for feedback. What parts of the call were not great? And then you can obviously ask, hey, can I get one more shot? If I can show you with confidence, say, hey, if I could show you that within a couple days that I'm a good learner and I make great quick improvements and that I'm coachable. So if I can come back, do another role play with you and have all of those things fixed, will you give me another shot? You could say something like that if it was a company you really want to work with, because, and what I would do, if let's say it was my sales team, one thing I'm looking for when I do role plays is I usually always do two if I do them. And I want to see that if I give the person feedback and they come back in 2-3 days for the second role play, if they're able to implement those changes right away, I'm like, cool, this person can grow because I know I can teach someone to sell, but I can't teach everyone to be a good learner and be coachable. So I'm like, okay, if I can do one role play, obviously I'm looking for a base standard in the role play. And then I'm giving them feedback. If they come back with those things fixed, I'm like, awesome, this person's coachable. I would be willing to bring that person on the team. But again, not everyone is me and has my same ideology when it comes to hiring and interviews. So you could try that with the business if it's someone you really wanted to work with. But if not, I mean, the only thing you could do other than that is get better at your role plays, ask for feedback, see what went wrong, and see how you can improve and get better. And the best way to get better is, one, obviously practice, and two, listening to other people's calls that are good so that you can kind of teach your brain subconsciously what to do when everything goes out the window. By listening to what is good over and over and over again, you start to remember what is good when your brain searches to grab onto some information. But obviously just practicing on your own is not going to be the best way to improve. You have to have someone, doesn't have to be me, but you have to have someone who can guide you in what good looks like to help you make improvements. And a lot of times we're blind to ourselves as well, so it's hard to just like self-diagnose. So someone that can break it down, someone that can diagnose and say, hey, improve this, change that, and then you go out and do it is the way to improve.
Yeah. He said that it was overall the structure was good, but I need to work on my tonality. So like just in the correct timings, have like a more different types of tonality to get him to like, engage, be an active listener,
Mhm.
more
Yeah,
like things like this were missing a little bit, he said. So
yeah. It's one of the
what would,
hardest ones for people to work on.
yeah, exactly.
If I said, how do you work on and change and improve your tonality? This is a question for everyone. What would you guys do to actually like change tonality on calls?
Yeah. It's I don't know if it's like just you want to add emotion when you're saying something like or like it's emotion, right, a bit, but I don't have specific exercises I'm doing for this, to be honest.
Bill, you had something to say?
Listen to good calls. I mean, you just said it a while ago. Listen to the top producers. How are they? What's the tonality? How do they change when they're going from one mode to the next? Like you've got to be different. You've got to talk at a different rate when you're going for the close, I would think. Uh, a lot of it is NLP, like neuro linguistic programming. You try
Mm-hmm.
to imitate kind of or monitor the way they're talking, their tonality, their cadence, so to speak. I think that helps a lot. It makes people think you're like them.
That helps a bit for sure. That definitely helps. Anyone else? Any ideas? Because that's a good way to learn what tonality to have, I'd say, Bill. But how do I, let's like, okay, I know what tonality to have, but how do I make myself have it without being like a stiff robot that's trying to sound like something I'm not? How do I make that
Practice,
natural?
practice.
Practice, for sure, for sure.
I
Practice is
mean,
a huge way to
everybody
do
on
it.
here can record their calls and then let you listen and say, okay, give me some feedback. How did I do here? How did I do there? What can I improve on, etc. Like you said, when you're talking, if you didn't get a job and you applied for it, I would just say to them, thanks for your time. For future, can you help me out a little bit here? Would you mind telling me, where I strayed, or what I can improve
100%,
on? You know,
100%, 100% correct. And then Lucian said, listen to yourself, 100%. Like you can brute force it. Like you can brute force the tonality thing. You just like, okay, I got to sound this way, practice, practice, practice. I've found personally for me and some people that I've worked with when it comes to tonality, you can change it in a much more genuine way by changing how you think about certain situations. So I always say like your thoughts control your feelings control your motivations control your actions, and your actions control your habits. So if I want to, obviously different parts of the call require different tonalities, different types of conversations you're having require different tonalities. But what people do is they try to force a tonality sometimes, and it unless you put in hours and hours and hours of practice, it's really, really hard for it to come out natural. If any of you have watched like Jeremy Minor training, you can see how he has that kind of like tonality that he puts on, and then people try to do it and it doesn't come out well. So the way I like to see it is if you can this is a very fat, like probably one of the fastest ways to change your tonality is by controlling the thoughts that you have when you're in that moment on the call. For example, when I kick off the call, and you start a sales call, a lot of people, what are they thinking about? Okay, how do I do this call to lead this person towards the sale? What do I ask? What's the next question? What's the right question? These are some of the thoughts that are flowing through the salesperson's mind a lot of times. And the reason why you want to have the framework down to a point where you're not thinking about it and it comes out natural is to give space to do this type of mental work that I'm about to talk about, which is instead of thinking about what to say next, instead of thinking about how to get them, like trying to fast forward to the end of the sale, how do I gear this situation to result in a sale? It's a lot better to think about the things that create the tonality that should happen in that moment, which are at the beginning of the call, in my opinion, is hyper curiosity. The only thing you should be thinking about at the beginning of a call is How can I help this person? I'm super curious about this person. I want to fully understand what's going on. I want to understand your problem. I want to understand your goals. I want to understand so that I can help. Now, that's the tonality or the energy you're supposed to be or you should be giving off. And the way to do that without saying, okay, I need to be curious about this person. I need to have a curious tone. How do I have it? Like, let's force a curious tone. It's thinking about the thoughts that create the feelings that create the action, which is literally telling yourself, this is what I do on calls, as the person speaking. Let's say I'm talking to Carlos, I'm doing a role play or a real call with Carlos, and Carlos comes to me and he says, I have this problem. The thoughts going through my head are, I wonder what he means by that. I'm really curious about X. I wonder what Carlos is this. I wonder what the problem is. I wonder how I can help. The thoughts that I'm putting in my head are thoughts of curiosity, which allows my body language, my facial expressions, my tonality, everything else flows in accordance with your thoughts, right? Everything flows in accordance with your thoughts. If you're thinking nervous thoughts, you're going to have nervous body language, nervous facial expressions, nervous everything. If you're thinking thoughts of how do I sell this person, you ever been on with a salesperson? You're like, this guy, he's saying all the stuff. He's saying the right stuff, but I can tell you're just trying to get me. It's like all of the, because from your thoughts, everything else flows. So if you think, I'm just so curious about you and how can I help you? The tonality of curiosity is going to naturally come out. Same thing when I'm handling objections. What do most salespeople do? What's the right objection handle? What do I say to get them to move forward? They're thinking all of those thoughts, and then they wonder why people don't feel comfortable and safe with them. The thought process I try to keep when I'm handling objections is, man, I really wish I could help this person overcome their fear. I know that this person's going to do a great job if only they could see what I see about what we have. How can I help this person? How can I help them overcome this? Thinking thoughts of that naturally display the emotions of someone that genuinely is trying to help, someone that cares, someone that wants to help them overcome or get past this concern for the reason of seeing them win. And when they can feel that energy from you, they feel more confident and comfortable with moving forward. Same thing when I'm pitching, the thoughts in my head are, because obviously through discovery, you should be selling yourself on why they should be a good fit. And if by the time you get to the end of discovery, if you've determined that they're not a good fit, you shouldn't be pitching at all. So if you are pitching, it's because we've determined that based off of, and again, this is why you have to be very curious at the beginning, because I am curious to see if I can help and if it makes sense for you to do this. Now that I've done my curious digging, I've discovered that you are a good fit and that you should do this. So now my energy switches from hyper curiosity to conviction, right? So my mind is now focused on, man, I know this person's going to crush. I'm excited to help them. I'm excited for what's next for them. I know they're going to be able to do this. I know they're going to be able to get results. So now your pitch is full of conviction and excitement. Is that making sense? Like, you can control your tonality by controlling the thoughts you have. Don't try to think about having the tonality. Think about the things that create the tonality. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because when you're sitting there being like, I gotta be caring right now. I gotta sound caring. How do I sound caring? Guarantee you're gonna sound like a robot. It's gonna like people. We all have this like internal BS meter. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, just something about this guy. Something off. But when it's flowing from the heart, because your thoughts are literally on the things that create it, it's like taking it one step further back to create it from the root up, rather than trying to like control from your facial expressions out. It's like, instead of being like, okay, I gotta have relaxed body language, I gotta have certain facial expressions, okay, smile, like, you know what I mean? You just start with the root, and then the facial expressions, the body language, like everything else just naturally flows with it, and you don't have to overthink anything. That's what I've found is the easiest way to have perfect tonality. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Okay. And I had another question about the on the profile. If I want to add some mock calls or something like that, should we add like some Loom? Can we add Loom videos of what we're saying, like how we're handling specific objections, or
Mhm.
most efficient way would you say to do that? Like always
Like
with some.
to put together like the portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, when I put out this recording, watch the beginning. We covered that in like the first 15 minutes, but just for a short little recap, put clips of different things. And it even helps. One thing I'll add that I didn't say before, it helps if you even pick one or two niches that you know that you want to work in. Again, you don't only have to apply to those niches, but let's say you're like, I want to work in fitness, and I know most of the offers I interview for are fitness anyway. Do fitness role plays, handle fitness objections, handle like when you do a pitch a fitness offer. Like don't do the thing that a lot of people do in these like how to get started in closer stuff where they do role plays on like how to get started as a closer, and then it's like those role plays are kind of useless. At least try to sell the thing you're most likely going to be selling, because it's a lot more sexy to a business owner to be like, oh, this is a role play of him selling fitness and it sounds good, rather than it sounds good but he's selling like a how to get started in closing thing. I wonder how he would sound if he was selling fitness. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just, and again, it doesn't mean that it's going to 100% be that niche, but at least the odds are more in your favor. If you, like, let's say 50% of your applications are one niche, just role play in that niche. That way, and then I would break it up. I would do a bunch of objections. Like, this is how I handle price objection, spouse objection, timing objection, whatever. This is how I would pitch a fitness offer. This is how I pitch a B2B marketing offer. Like, again, do a couple of the ones that you think you would end up selling. This is how I would do a discovery, and this is a great example of me diving deep into pain and really probing. Here's an example of me really painting the picture of someone's goals and helping them realize. Here's a role play of me like challenging someone's limiting beliefs. Like, you know what I mean? Have a bunch of different clips, and then obviously have like one full call in case business owner wants to see beginning to end. And then, yeah, you fill the portfolio with that alongside, if you have any experience, tracking sheets, screenshots, commission checks, all that stuff is, just hard evidence and proof that you know what you're doing. And then, you put together a good portfolio.
All right. Okay. Sounds great.
Cool. Lucian, you said blurred video or audio would be preferred for mock calls and portfolio. I don't really know. I mean, you don't have to blur them out, unless the person wanted you to.
Okay.
Like if it's live call examples, like this is a call I took for a real offer, then yeah, I'd probably blur out the person's face, that you took the call with, and blur out their name. But you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
just doing
makes
role
sense.
plays, if it's just role plays, I mean, unless like you role play with Bill and Bill's like, oh, I don't want to be in your folio, then sure you can blur them out, but I'm sure they're fine with it. Make
Okay.
sense?
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. We will end it there for this one. Everyone learned something?
Yeah, Ty, can you send me a quick line about how to do the average deal, how to include it in there? Because I can't seem to figure it out.
Yeah, just stay on the line here
Oh,
when
okay.
everyone
Yeah,
hops off, and we'll,
good.
we'll quickly take a look at that.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
But cool. Hopefully it wasn't helpful. Hopefully, or was helpful. Hopefully I wasn't just rambling for an hour. But I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. And then